Hello, thanks for watching. I'll be talking about our paper Social Justice in HCI, a systematic literature review. This project was a huge team effort. We have academic researchers from 8 different institutions. Each of us does justice-related work in varying domains, including sustainability, labor, race, safety, disability, and more. I'm Breanna. I'll be sharing on behalf of the group. It was really spectacular to work with these researchers. I'd like to begin by calling attention to the words of Josiah Hester. CHI 2024 in Hawaii is a violation of the rights and sovereignty of Native Hawaiians and locals. The community experiences continuous harm from over-tourism, climate degradation, and, most recently, the deadliest fire in over a century of U.S. history. It is clear that the CHI community needs to pursue justice not only through academic research, but also within our social and conference practices. While our team members have chosen to withhold several other publications, we struggled with the irony of withholding a social justice paper in this context. The professional, political, and ethical tensions around publishing illustrate just some of the thorniness of engaging in justice-related contexts in HCI. In recent years, the CHI community has demonstrated increased interest in social justice. This is represented by an increased number of CHI sessions on social justice, where members of this team first met, by increased publications, and even by a new subcommittee on critical computing, sustainability, and social justice. This is also represented in our corpus. The graph on this slide maps the papers in our dataset by publication year. There's a stark uptick in justice-oriented contributions starting in 2017. We believe now is the time to take stock of where we've been in order to share strategies amongst one another and decide how to move forward toward more just futures and research practices. To take stock, we surveyed 124 papers that explicitly pursue social justice in the date range between 2009 and 2022 to better reflect on the current state of justice-oriented work within our discipline. This project took over 2 years. So, what do we mean by social justice? As we started this project, we realized social justice is a difficult term to pin down. This is actually a good thing. We all have different thoughts, ideas, and things that we want to see changed. We can work collectively towards these unique ideas of justice. Still, it was surprisingly rare to find any definition within papers that evoked social justice. But one paper in our corpus did hit the nail on the head. Dombrowski and colleagues define social justice as an approach that attends to the ways that individuals experience oppression, including how benefits, burdens, obligations, power, opportunity, and privilege have been inequitably distributed within society. While explicit definitions were rare, we did see social justice being pursued in many different ways. With our new understanding of the vastness of this space, we came up with a set of search terms by identifying the various strands of social justice. We started with strands that were listed in prior work, and then added to this list as we encountered them in papers during our coding process. Here's what we found. We identified 5 key considerations that serve as ways to investigate any social justice-oriented question. These considerations can help researchers frame and understand problems, as well as decide how to approach them. This isn't an exhaustive list of all of the considerations, rather 5 considerations we found useful. First, researchers can investigate harms and benefits. Many papers in our corpus were acting in response to harm. Fewer, though, engaged with why those harms might be occurring. Engaging with what benefit is created by the harm that is occurring can help researchers understand the full scope of injustice and open different opportunities for where to act. Please see our paper for a taxonomy of harms and benefits. Next, we can look at who is harmed and who benefits. It is clear that some benefit from injustice. Asking who allows us to zoom out, acknowledging the multiple actors and power differentials within socio-technical systems. Third, identifying sources of harm allows us to consider the various mechanics by which harms and benefits are enacted. Fourth, we build on the work of Patricia Hill Collins to identify 3 sites where we can intervene to address injustice. These are the individual, communal, and systemic levels. Most papers acted on the communal level. Last, we identify a set of tools researchers can leverage to enact justice. Even the mundane choices we make throughout our research processes have implications for justice. While conducting this review, we found areas of social justice work in HCI that appeared underdeveloped. We draw attention to critical gaps in the field that require further attention in order to move forward. First, we found a set of harms that are under-researched. These include cultural harms, or the destruction or imposition of one culture on another, and also environmental harms, which is damage to the environment. Though colonialism and environmentalism are both discussed in the corpus, it is typically in the context of physical, economic, or psychological harm to individuals. The way harms and benefits manifest in non-human entities, including traditions, languages, epistemologies, and ecosystems, could require some more attention. Second, the role that intersectionality plays in shaping the experiences of harms and benefits has been understudied. Overlapping identities uniquely complicate and exacerbate harm, yet most literature in HCI focuses on single-access identities. When looking at levels of intervention, we found that there were few interventions on the individual level. As a reminder, Patricia Hill Collins observes that people can experience harm due to individual, communal, and systemic factors. At the individual level, people can experience harm due to interpersonal relationships, individual experiences, and personal beliefs. While systems of oppression undoubtedly influence these individual beliefs and actions also make up those systems of oppression and serve as a unique site of intervention. Fourth, we see that the HCI research community currently does not account for the role of benefits in the continuation of social injustice. Injustice and the harms and oppression that come with it exist because people within systems of power stand to benefit from it. A deeper understanding of the kinds of benefits that powerful groups reap due to these systems of power and oppression can shed light on how and why these systems continue. To move forward, we believe our field must also evolve to make social justice-oriented work sustainable for the researchers who do it. We need institutions to better support the commitment to slow, messy work necessary to make change, and to support the researchers engaged in it, many of whom are themselves from historically marginalized communities. Last, because the work in our field currently has a tendency to focus on solving problems, deficit views of communities are common. We found that HCI focuses more on resolving harm rather than the flourishing of historically marginalized communities. Responding to injustice is necessary, but it keeps us one step behind. What will it mean for the HCI research community to go beyond responding to injustice? Thank you for listening. We're excited to see where this community is headed. Please contact us with any questions. Now might also be a good time to mention that 2 of our first authors are on the alt academic job market. Please hire us. Thanks again for watching.